Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. My name is Harry.
I'm Stephen Berry.
And you're back, Stephen, back from Portugal. Oh, it's great to see you, mate. And I feel like this pod is going to be a bit of a counselling session. For context viewers and listeners, we are recording this on Monday, so just before the Man United Leeds games kick off. But yeah, Stephen, before we go into the main body of the pod, how did your FPL week go?
Well, my FPL week went very un-Arsenal-like. It went pretty well. I got 56 points with an average of 38.
Nice.
Low average, considering a lot of people were on
Yeah.
wild cards. O'Reilly scored and got a clean sheet. I know he got subbed up early, but I would have thought loads of people would have had him. I guess a lot of people got rid of Thiago and Bowen, maybe, who were my big scorers. Rovs, my boy, points machine. He did well. I'm pretty happy that I got some Palmer Defcons. Told you he was worth the money, Barry. Told you all along he was worth the money. So I'll take that. But 56 points with Penandes and Strike to go. So 58 is pretty. I mean, Penandes, I think a lot of people have him as a captain, even though I've got him there, so maybe that could destroy it. But overall, I think it's a pretty good week. And surprisingly low overall scoring against a wild card.
Who did you captain then?
Captain Danny Welbeck away to Burnley. They got 2 goals, none from him, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he came off at 63, I saw. Cool, okay. Well, I did wildcard on 44 points with captain Bruno and DCL to go. Returns from Gabriel, Van Heck, O'Reilly with 14, Palmer. I did put Palmer in, and then blanks around. My Truffle assist is firmly rooted to the bench, sadly. But glad I held on to him. Verbruggen with 9 points. Very, very happy with that. So, yeah, and I made the switch from Gahey to O'Reilly, which actually cost me a point because Gahey went away with 15. But, fine. We'll wait to see what the O'Reilly news is. I think that switch to Gahey, if he's injured, is quite obvious. But O'Reilly definitely putting his hand up for the England team, and I'm all for it. But before we go into that game, Stephen, do you just want to get some stuff off your chest? Try and keep it vaguely FPL related, but let's do the first few minutes. Stephen, is the title race over?
Yes. Give it to Man City. It's done. This title race has just been absolute torturous to me for 2 reasons. Number one, we're bottling it again. We just are. And I will add a little bit of FPL in here. In FPL, I honestly think it's time to get rid of all of our players. Bizarrely, with the one exception of Gokares. I know he's a little bit clumsy, but he was getting in. He obviously scored a penalty.
He got a few chances, didn't he?
Got a few chances, but you saw that team. The last time I seen him look like that mentally was actually Spurs a few weeks ago. Both teams in North London look shell-shocked. The Arsenal players, they just the look on their faces, they knew what was coming. They just knew. And they know what's coming. They're bereft of confidence and do not have any Arsenal players anymore, other than with the exception of Gokares, if you fancy a bit of a differential. They're bottling it. They know they're not going to win the title. The title race is over. We have 2 hopes, actually. Number 1, sack the bridesmaid. Get rid of him now. Just get rid of him now. Get in Maresca. Get in somebody who's... Maresca would be the most obvious immediately available example I can think of. I mean, longer term, I'd love a Luis Enrique, but I think it's a bit unrealistic. But sack the bridesmaid. He is just... Like, his talk afterwards and how is he letting football Twitter get into his head and the players' heads? It's unacceptable. Sack the bridesmaid. We're thinking about offering him a new contract. He should get nothing. I mean, I know technically it isn't over, but he has to get a trophy to get a new contract. That's hope number 1. Hope number 2, for both of our clubs, actually, is the Premier League grows a set of balls and deducts City some points. But that's equally unlikely. But Arsenal will not win anything with Arteta. Sack the bridesmaid from FPL. Get rid of all of our players, unless you fancy a differential Gokares. It's done. It's over.
Even Gabriel?
Even Gabriel, because he got some Defcons, but
it wasn't Defcons, it was an assist.
It was an assist
he got. The penalty. He hit the ball into the player who got the handball. So
Yeah, fine. But I just don't think Arsenal are going to keep many clean sheets. This is the thing. If you go through the fixtures and say, "Oh, on paper that should be fine," this game should have been fine, right? Bournemouth are decent, but like, come on, like at least a draw. And the way we couldn't track back for the second they scored, you could just everything just felt like the world had crushed. So, um, well, so you got also if you look at it a bit more forensically, so Man City away, don't say much about that. Newcastle, Eddie Howe has his number. Fulham, why not? We'll lose that game. West Ham away. West Ham probably will still need the points by then. It's really only our last two because Burnley will be gone by then, and Crystal Palace away. They tend to play well against us, but even Crystal Palace, I think even Crystal Palace have given up by then. Hopefully, they're still in the Conference League as well, and they really would have thrown in the towel Premier League wise. But
Conference will be the one.
But the title race is over unless the Premier League grows a set of balls and finds the cheats, or we sack the bridesmaid. But I don't see if those two things happen.
Wow. So I expected you to say something like that, but I have to say, where Arteta has got you to as a club is miles ahead of where you were 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And 5 years ago, you were Banter FC. Now you're not. Now you've got a decent team. I think you have a decent team.
And I was more around the Banter FC. I mean, the guy who works for Sky with the Arsenal bottle. If you go on Twitter, like that's been everywhere. Do you know actually part of the worst thing? This has distracted me from a beautiful Spurs relegation. I've drank nothing in on that. I just can't. My mates who aren't Arsenal fans, they're like, "Oh, this is hilarious, Spurs way, come on, West Ham, go on for us." I can't do anything. I couldn't enjoy that result on Sunday. Genuinely, that's how annoyed I am at Arsenal. They have ruined a Spurs relegation, which is the biggest crime of all that Arteta has committed. Not his tactics on the pitch, although they are very questionable as well. Sorry. Anyway, Arteta's taken us forward. Yes, sorry, go on.
Yeah, Arteta has taken you forward. So I think sacking him would be pretty wild at the end of this season. Sacking him now would be even more wild. That would be full head loss. And I know it's hard given how close you are. And you're still 6 points ahead. You still could get a draw at City. You still could go on an unbelievable run. These things are still possible. And, it's definitely not over, is what I'd put. Man City don't have the best run in, I would suggest. I think you got a chance there. Newcastle at home shouldn't be a problem for you. Fulham shouldn't be a problem either because they'll be on the beach with the flip-flops by then. So I can't imagine that being an issue. But, I mean, are you really suggesting selling Gabriel? I mean, he's had at least one return in the last 5 games. You can't be seriously considering selling Gabriel.
Yes, Barry, just look at the play. They just know what's coming. The only time you might want to bring him back is when maybe for the last 2 games because Burnley and Crystal Palace won't care, and City would have already won the league by then. But yeah, you just knew what was going. I don't see Arsenal keeping clean sheets. Okay, he got an assist, Gabriel, and there's always DEFCONs, but there's got to be safer assets out there. Especially as most people are still doing 3 at the back anyway. It's quite a lot of cash. I think I'd rather have 2 City defenders, to be honest with you. Obviously, Gay and both O'Reilly scored, but I think I'd rather have that moving forward than having a Gabriel. Okay, I'll put this another way. Would you rather have Gabriel or Gay? Right? I mean, and this isn't just recency bias. Like Man City just gonna have a better run than us. It doesn't matter who they're playing. I think the only sort of question I would ask back to you actually, to sort of move on from Arsenal, is: am I being a bit harsh on Bournemouth? Are Bournemouth actually okay? They've been a little bit inconsistent, but they're 1 point off Sunderland, 2 points off Everton and Brentford. That means the Conference League will be 7th this season because we've got another Champions League place, right? That's already confirmed. So they're technically a European chasing team, even though they're 11th. So am I being harsh on Bournemouth? Yeah. Your best mate, Truffert, you've never sold him. You're committing to him. Maybe am I overlooking Bournemouth players potentially?
I'd say yes. And let's look at it from the coaching standpoint. I think it's quite obvious that they are such a well-coached team.
Yeah. He'd be another manager for Arsenal.
Uh, well, they're apparently didn't they go to school together? They're both from the same
Yeah.
part of Spain.
Yeah.
They've known each other since they were 14 and all the rest of it. So it's good to see a club like Bournemouth do well. I mean, they have never played in European football in their entire history as a club. So I think that does add an element of motivation to them that I probably means for me, if you've wildcarded and gone on triple Bournemouth, I wouldn't mind that. I've gone double, but I think that the options are quite limited going forward because their goals are shared around. I mean, who would have thought Alex Scott to get the winner, although he played magnificently and constantly gets DEFCONs, and I think he broke around
He's
the
a good
5
player,
million
Scott, to be
mark.
fair.
He's a very, very good player, and I think it was either him or Jaden Anthony of Burnley that I was thinking about from an FPL perspective in that wildcard listing. I think you are being a bit harsh on Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a hard team to beat. They're a good team. As I said, they're well coached. They've got good players. Their scouting ability has always been pretty decent. And even though they sold quite a few high end players last season, they've come back and everyone was like, "Whoa, they might be relegated." The rest of it. They signed some unknown from Brazil in the form of Ryland who did a pretty good start, and he still is pretty impressive down that wing. Tavernier's been a constant. And nearly scored an absolute worldie in this game. Alex Scott, like we talked about, he marshals that midfield. Really, really strong player. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the higher up clubs will be looking at him this summer. CDMs are all the range still, I think, given the fact that, let's look at Rodri, for example. Rodri's probably going to go in the summer. His legs are probably past it. So then it's a question of Anderson or Scott for the Man City midfield. I mean, that would be class, wouldn't it? Liverpool, they probably need another holding. Man United, I mean, they've got Mainu, but I mean, he likes to go forward. And it looks like Agate and Casemiro are going to go in the summer. So again, could we see one of the Man United go for one of those players? So I think that Bournemouth have always put together good, strong teams. Yeah. So I think you are being a bit harsh.
Okay.
It was a hurdle you needed to get over. But it was a difficult one, and if I hate to say this, but because I know you've highlighted this, if they had the bottle, if they wanted to prove that the Man City result in the League Cup, that the Southampton result hadn't affected them, they needed to won that game and won it confidently, and they didn't. They scored the goal to get 1-1, and honestly, they barely created anything from open play. It was a hope on a set piece. That was what they were going for. And it has been a bit set piece FC for a while, but now you have to realize that passing backwards. I mean, there was that stat that David Raya had 38 pass backwards in the game. If David Raya is your single most important player in terms of link-up play, you've got a problem. So I think the players are choking a little and they are very nervous, but Bournemouth really put them to the sword and played really, really well.
Yeah,
really well.
I mean, also Kai Havertz. I mean, I know we're so desperate because of the song to defend that piece of trash transfer from Chelsea, but guy's great song, but that is the pinnacle of his Arsenal career, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know why Arteta doesn't like Eze. I guess he's probably not industrious enough for him, but like he is just so much better than Havertz in every single way, other than work rate. And that simply was not a game where we needed work rate. All the problems were we went forward and we just didn't know what to do. And by the time Eze came on, like it was a bit too late by then. I know it was only at 1-1, but still. Yeah, we need Odegaard. We need Odegaard back. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans are very critical of Odegaard. I'd say look at the difference in the results and everything when he plays and when we don't. But yeah, no, sell Arsenal players. Man City are gonna really, really nail the coffin, put the final nail in the coffin, and then once that happens, we're honestly, I wouldn't surprise me if we don't turn up at all. If anything, I mean, what's the points between us and Man U? How many points are Man U off?
You'd be on the same points. If they win, if they beat you and they beat Burnley, be on the same points.
I mean more Man U. I'm now more worried about finishing the season below Man United. Like, I mean, there's actually 15 points.
Come on, man. You can't be.
There's 15 points with 6 games. Okay, so that's impossible. But like, yeah, like we are.
You can't be crashing out that bad, mate.
we're honestly, the towel's in. It's over. And do you know what? And then I can at least focus on Spurs. At least I can do that. One thing that was confirmed is that the title race is over, and the other thing that was confirmed at this weekend, Barry, would be
Spurs getting relegated. But I already knew that. I've already come to terms with it. I thought, after Man City seemed to be, marching on and Arsenal seemed to be falling apart, I left my flat on Sunday, skipping a beat, thinking, yeah, go on, positivity. Come on, Spurs. Can you complete my
new manager
weekend by
bounce.
winning at Sunderland? New manager bounce. De Zerbi, okay, fine. He's got a bit of a questionable history and so forth, but still, let's be positive and all the rest of it. And I could hear the Spurs fans when I was in the pub, through the TV. So was really enjoying that. And after a brief 10-minute spell at the beginning where Richarlison probably should have scored, should have set someone up, it was then pretty much Sunderland domination. And look, it was improved. It was an improved performance. We played well. It was an unlucky goal. A really unlucky goal. Robbie should have been sent off for that push on Romero. Like, I think that's outrageous. And looks like Romero's out for the season now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so his knee's done. He could be back at the end of May, maybe early June, but his hope now is getting to the World Cup. And let's be real, if he's relegated, is he going to get picked for Argentina? Probably not. It was a really damp squid of a performance. And I think one of the things that's interesting is De Zerbi was about to make 3 subs because Conor Gallagher, Rishi, and Archie Gray were knackered. They were so tired, and he was about to make their substitutions. Rishi goes in for the tackle, misses it. Conor Gallagher overruns because he has the turning circle of the Titanic. And as a result, Mikke has that shot. It hits Van der Ven's ankle and then loops over, and Kinski could do nothing about it. Who I thought had a good game, by the way, Kinski. So I think it's good to see him bounce back from that Atletico position. So if we made those substitutions a minute or two earlier, I don't think that goal happens. And then we talk about a good point away. So I'm taking some positives out of it. I'm feeling positive. I have to say, though, however, my positivity about how we're performing is kind of irrelevant because ultimately West Ham looked decent. Nottingham Forest looked decent, although Aston Villa, if they could put the ball in the back of the net, they would have easily won that game 3-4-0. Morgan Rogers missing a sitter, Watkins missing a sitter. It would have been ridiculous. But all those other teams look confident. You look at the difference with West Ham, right? They had that must-win game against Wolves, and they win it 4-0. Spurs don't have the mentality to do that. So I'm afraid we will be playing in the Championship next season. But maybe some improved performances between now and the end of the season will help us feel good about ourselves. And I'll be proud to be a Spurs fan from the day to the day I die. But I just know that this team will constantly let me down. And if you look at the run-in as well, I mean, it's that Chelsea away game, 17th of May. That's going to be the game that relegates us, and they will fucking love it.
Yeah, you can sort of see the memes now, can't you? Chelsea with nothing to play for, but then Chelsea, when they're sending Spurs down, will be the beginning of that Spanish team in the 2008-2010 periods. All right, let's play devil's advocate. I actually missed the game, but you sound like there's something there. The question on... Because the thing with Spurs is that they obviously have the players. I mean, Tim Sherwood just saying that, oh, just knock it long and it'll be fine. Like, obviously people see through that. As much as I hate to say it, De Zerbi is the right choice of manager for Spurs because I don't think Dyche screaming at Xavi Simons to press is going to work. That's just, he'll be immune to that gravelly voice. I actually think Romeo arguably is actually in your favour because he is being checked out for a while. But the problem is... Yeah. It's not the talent, it's that they just didn't expect in the situation, and they just, every game is just under this unbelievable cauldron, which they're not braced for. Leeds players are, Nottingham Forest players are, West Ham players are.
Yeah, exactly right, yeah.
Did that look like that from minute one? Was there any point where they didn't look under pressure, or was that just the entire game?
No, I actually think that they broadly played all right. Okay. I think that's been true most of the season. Like, they haven't expected to be in this position. They've kind of been in a state of shock on the pitch. Van der Ven's form is the one that I'm most surprised by. His form has plummeted off a cliff. Yeah. It really has. He cannot defend one-on-one anymore at night anyway. But I think Udogie, we look a lot better with him on the pitch. Porro had a decent game. Danso, when he came on, had a decent game. They all had decent games. Like it's just an unlucky goal, and but that's the thing. That's what happens when you're down there, And we won't get relegated because of an unlucky goal. We'll get relegated because the club made a stupid decision to hire Igor Tudor and waste 5 games where we could have done something, right? And you laughed at me, but that's when we should have got in someone like Harry Redknapp just to settle the ship, and he would have been fine. He's got us out of a relegation before; he could do it again. It was an open goal for the club to make, and they just aren't prepared. And I said this to my friend when he said that, going down to the Championship, what we need is people at the top of the club who are smart enough to make good decisions now to prepare for the Championship, or to at least try and make a fist of it going forward. But the problem is we don't have those people in the club. We have morons. They don't know what they're doing. So I think also it's worth mentioning that Robin Roos made 7 saves in this game. So that means we're having a lot of shots. Great. Xhaka, 15 defcons. Romero nearly up to 10 before he came off. And Siddiqui also nearly getting those defcons. So we clearly put them under pressure. But we still had an XG of 0.84. We had 11 shots, 1 big chance out of all of those. So really, really flailing. Whereas Sunderland were much more industrious. 1.33 XG, 3 big chances, 13 shots, and we only made 1 save in that, although it was a really good save. We had 6 corners. Great, we can be set piece FC, but as we've seen at the top, it doesn't quite work near, and it won't work at the bottom either. So there's a couple of things. To summarise, if we'd made those substitutes earlier, I don't think that goal happens. The goal was unlucky. I have seen some positive things, so I wouldn't write us off yet. But I just think because of the quality of the teams above us and what they're putting in terms of performances, that's what will relegate us. We can have a new manager bounce, but we won't bounce high enough.
Put it that way. I guess to put it in FBL terms quickly. So, okay, so it sounds like it's not Operation Target Spurs like it is now for Burnley, for example, who have really just lost, and understandably just lost any hope or belief. So it's not, but still target them generally. I mean, Solanke keeps playing. You're saying there's more attacking football. Is he going to start? Is he someone that was sleeping on and underrating and not really considering?
I thought Mawani was actually our biggest attacking threat. Solanke had a couple of chances as well, but you'd be worried about his fitness. So if you really wanted a Spurs attacker and do not get one at all, I would be going for Kolo Muani. He's been really impressive since he's come to the club. He's not acting like a loney player who knows he's going to go back to PSG after the season's over. He's really acting like he gives a shit. So that's really positive to see. Rishi, he had a poor game, but he was getting into really good positions. And it's a bit like what we say about Haaland, and we can talk about that game a bit later. But Haaland had quite a few good chances in the Chelsea game, so you wouldn't sell him because he's not scoring. Because he is still getting those chances, and on another day they go in the goal. So I think that if you really wanted a Spurs asset, I would be going attacking, obviously not defending. I'd be looking at Rishi or Kolo Muani.
Fair enough. And then on Sunderland, we've obviously been very critical of them being, not critical, but saying that they're basically on the beach. But they are now, I think it's 1 point off Brentford. Yeah, 1 point off Brentford. Yep. Do you think, did they play really well? I mean, Mukiele's having his, who's that Sheffield United guy? Lundstrom. He's having his Lundstrom season. He is an absolute hauling machine.
Same colours as well.
Yeah,
Same colours of shirt as well. So
yeah. I mean, again, I wrote them off because, again, I sort of wrote them off based on the one game against Brighton where they were dreadful. But I guess now with some more data, it was just mainly just a bad day in the office for them, and maybe they're not beached. And Reggie Labrise would love to get them into Europe. Do you think they're gonna? Did they play? Okay, did they play well against Spurs? Like, did that look like a performance of a team chasing Europe?
Short answer is yes. And it was interesting that the manager came out afterwards and said, yes, do you know what? We have achieved all our aims for the season, but the players are ambitious and they want to do more. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we see a bit more from them coming the rest of the season. I do think that they are just going to have one big party till now to the end of the season. I stand by that claim. They've done the double over Newcastle. Newcastle lost again yesterday. So they're pretty much, counting themselves out. I mean, it's how many points off Europe? 3 or 4?
One.
Quite a big gap to close.
They're 1 point off Europe. So I mean, they can't get Champions League, but they can get UEFA Cup. So sorry, They're 1 point
Yeah.
off conference. They're 2 off UEFA, and the team in sixth, Barry.
Everton.
No, your favorite club in the world, Chelsea. So
Yeah.
who are, let's be frank, we'll talk about Chelsea Man City in a bit, but let's be frank, Chelsea are in free fall. So that UEFA Cup spot is now all of a sudden wide open.
Yeah, and so maybe they do have an extra motivation there. But I mean, what's their run in? I don't think I'll be owning any Sunderland players between now and the end of the season. There might be some personal motivations there to, potentially move on. Robin Roofs has talked about, or has been, touted as being someone that could go. But like we said a couple of podcasts ago, we kind of hope Sunderland don't make that, because if someone like their manager goes to an Aston Villa, for example, if Emery goes at the end of the season, or even a Chelsea, I don't think he does well in those positions. Moreover, that team is doing well by the fact it's stronger than the sum of its parts. And if that team gets sliced and diced apart by the bigger clubs, it could be a really, really tough season next season. But we said that when they came up. So let's stay hopeful. Let's stay interested. But from an FPL standpoint, I don't think I'll be owning any of their players between now and the end of the season. It's been a joy to own them when I did, but I'm happy that I don't now, because I think there are other teams out there to target.
I'm very much keeping Rose. I think he's still got another few hauls in them. Yuki is now just a bit more expensive now, so maybe not. But Rose, I still think, is now he's back from injury, is a must. But let's talk about the other European teams. Teams chasing Europe, I should say, and that is, I mean, let's be frank, 2 teams that we never would have said we were chasing Europe before a ball was kicked, and that is Brentford Everton. And from all accounts, a very entertaining 2-2. A few things caught my eye. Both teams went for it. I've been very critical of Brentford for being a City-backed team, but this game they went for it a lot more, created good chances. Thiago, I mean, underestimate him at your cost. I know a lot of people, I think he was the one that was transferred out, but the man scores. The man just does. Their run in Brentford's pretty interesting. So it's Fulham, Man U, West Ham, Man City, Crystal Palace, Liverpool. So it's a mixture of difficult and hard, but on the whole, it's okay. Everton's run in is really nice as well, and all their players are low owned. I think it's only Thiago who some people still have, but Dewsbury Hall, he's still not very old. Yeah, there you go. So Dewsbury Hall is not well owned. Pickford isn't that well owned in goal. Lewis Potter and Kode, another assist. I went for the wrong Brentford fullback. Of course I did. But Kode, he's just a good player. I don't know how
he could have scored as well. He could have
scored
scored as well.
Yeah.
Really speaking, that's just a deflection of Thiago's crotch, I think it was.
Yeah. Utara is a really, really nice little player. And Jai has his moments. I mean, we're just sort of ignoring Brentford, and generally we're ignoring Brentford and Everton. But I mean, Brentford, I'm still holding my opinion on, other than Thiago. But I mean, Everton players, there's a few of them starting to like. And Barry, if you really want a differential, and FPL is about joy at times, imagine having Beto in your team. Imagine having Beto in your team, and he gets you a goal. I mean, that is what FPL is all about. I think. How much is Beto, and how cheap and how well owned
5.5, or maybe even 5. It's cheap.
Beto is 5. And he is owned by 2.9% of brilliant managers. He got 16 points against Chelsea the other week. Oh, wow. So his last 5, 9, 2, 2, 16, 7. It's pretty good. It's a lot more than Erling Haaland.
You have rubbished him. You have rubbished him in recent weeks.
Very frank. He is not a good player. He has little to no technical football ability whatsoever, but they're knocking the balls in for him, and they're somehow going in for him. What are some of his underlying measures? He's been getting really, really lucky. He's really outperforming his XGI, I should say. Okay, I've gone off better immediately, but he'd be fun to own. That's all I'm saying. I would be much more happy if I had better in my team and getting those points than anybody else. Let's put it that way.
So I guess the question would be, if you had to own 2 players. I mean, obviously we've got the double game week coming up this week, so it's just not really a discussion at this point. But if you had to own 2 players from Brentford and Everton, 2 players from each team, that is, which 2 players would they be?
Dewsbury Hall. So again, he's below. I can't remember. He's 5 point something or other. He might even still be 5, but
he's 5. I think 5.2.
Good player, low end. Obviously got his goal. He's Look, he's one of those players who's just going to do 2-2, but then when he does, he will get a big haul for you. And he scored against a variety of teams, both home and away. So I quite like him. I've got Lewis Potter in my team. Should have gone for
Yeah.
Coyote. I'll probably hold Lewis Potter now, but Coyote's I think he's just a really, really fun
Didn't Lewis
fullback.
Potter get an assist though in the game?
No, not in this game, unfortunately. If he has, then FPL have not given me the points for it. He's sitting on 1 point in my team.
Maybe
So
it was the assist to the assist because he definitely put the ball in a
yeah,
nice moment when I think they had a chance, but I can't remember if it was a goal.
yeah. And then Thiago. I mean, again, you keep thinking it's
Yeah,
not
he's
going to
starting to
happen,
get,
but
isn't he? Really?
yeah, I mean, but he's 34% owned, so but yeah, he. I mean, I can't remember the owner of the Benjamin's name or something like that. The owner of Brentford just says like strikers who just get are just in and around the box all the time and getting chances, they will eventually score. And that's what he looks for. So, and Thiago is that man. Will he be
He is.
Brazil's
He is.
number 9 over João Pedro maybe soon? Who knows? And then Brantford would be the other one if he's playing more. I know they're nursing him back from injury, but he played, and he's just obviously a very good defender. And I think if he plays, the problem is his X minutes, but he's one to keep an eye on as well. They'd be my recommendations.
Cool. Yeah, I think in my free hit that I'll play in 34, I will probably own at least an Everton player as they've got West Ham away. Brentford have got Man United away, which has got a Thiago hat trick all over it.
Nice.
But I think afterwards, it's probably Everton's fixtures in the last three that look the best. And if they're still hunting for European fixtures, I think Dewsbury Hall as a set and forget for the rest of the season is perfectly reasonable. I think it's just purely that sort of fixtures position of having those doubles and then potential doubles in 36 as well that just kind of put me off a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. And the
Just
team that I think
one
is a must.
headline question I'd like
Yeah,
to ask you there, Barry. There are
yeah.
2
Go.
Merseyside clubs. There are 3 West London clubs. Which teams did you prefer from Merseyside, and which team do you prefer right now from West London from an FPL perspective? But you having to think about it says a lot about 2 clubs, one from West London, one from Liverpool.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think I'm. Look, Liverpool got an impressive 2-0 win against Fulham. It is Fulham, but they need to get the job done. And look, we know Fulham can be a banana skin. Liverpool need to make Champions League, so I think that they will have to go into that Merseyside derby
You
with
said that before,
everything
and they just
on
haven't.
it.
They haven't hit the accelerator at all. Since you've made that comment, if anything, they've gone backwards.
Yeah, I'm saying they need to make that they
Yeah.
need to push that button. They may not have done it yet, but I think that it's pretty obvious they need to go for it. And I think to a certain extent, the best thing that can happen to them is them getting knocked out by PSG on Wednesday. Because once that
Which they
happens, they'll
will
only
do.
have one place to. Which they'll only have one place to focus on. They're on 52 points. They're 4 ahead of Chelsea on 48. Villa getting a draw against Forest will bolster their claim to be staying in that top 5 position for the Champions League. So I think they've got a really good chance of doing it. But Everton, if they win that game, they are 2 points behind Liverpool. And that will give Everton such confidence and such belief in the chance to get European football back at their stadium, at their club. I was about to say it back at Goodison Park, but we can't say that anymore, which is sad. But yeah, that will give them such confidence. So I think in the Merseyside derby, I'm going to back Everton purely on that motivation alone.
Wow. Fair enough.
And out of the 3 West London clubs, you can't really hate Brentford, can you? I mean, I know Chelsea have got that double, and I do own Palmer, who I brought in on my wild card. But to be honest, if he blanks in this double, him and probably Welbeck will be shipped out for Thiago and someone cheaper in the midfield because Chelsea look the mood around the club is not good.
Well, let's talk
And
about Chelsea then. Our next game. Yeah, go on, Barry.
now the first half very tepid. Chelsea sat back. They had a good couple of chances. Cucurella had the ball in the back of the net, but it was offside quite clearly, actually. Palmer had a couple of good chances. He created quite a few bits and pieces here and there. It was interesting how Chelsea set up. And I think obviously having no Enzo because of his silly comments did hurt them into the second half, where we've seen it before with Pep. He takes them in a half time. The first half seems to be their experimenting half, where they just see where like like a great white shark, just sort of smelling their prey, going, what do you like? What's happening here? Where are your weaknesses? And then the second half, he just gives them a blueprint of this is how you punish them. And boy, second half,
Yeah,
it was like men against boys. They
it really was.
absolutely blew them away. O'Reilly, what a player this man is. Honestly, I really hope he's fit for the double game week because he is such a good player. He's getting in and around it. He's going forward. Yeah, I think he's a shoo-in for the England team. And I think he's a shoo-in for your fantasy football teams as well because he's just absolute quality. And I think Doku could have had a pen, so that means Haaland would have got the goal. He had a couple of good chances as well. Cherky just looks like David Silva of old. Like he just looks like such a flamboyant player. It is a joy to watch them. And I think that when I saw Man City against Liverpool in the FA Cup, both me and Lee said it was just like liquid football all over the pitch, and I think in that second half it was the same. So, as you always ask, was it Chelsea being shit and Man City being good? It was, in fact, both.
Was. I mean, I don't want to talk about how good Man City are, but just quickly, I'll say it again. The League Cup game was a real catalyst for them. They looked at that and they were like, hold on. Like, what are we doing? We're Man City. We're better than this. Like, if you compare, like, that second... Like, remember they were against West Ham? Like, they look pretty equal, West Ham and Man City. And that wasn't Man City. That's not because West Ham was that good, but... Man City, they've got their catalyst now, and they're going to keep going. I guess the question is now, though, is how bad are Chelsea? Because that second half was really bad. And you mentioned the atmosphere. I think it's a very good point. Like they booed them off at 0-0 against Man City. I'm like, oy, oy, oy. Yeah. They're not a patient bunch, the Chelsea fans, but that's pretty bad.
It was hard to hear the boos because half the stadium had left. And it was mainly Man City cheering, to be honest, and the man drinking out of the Arsenal bottle that we could see and hear. So, it's really bad. I don't think they'll get rid of Rosenior before the end of the season, but I think he'll be gone if they don't make Champions League. Palmer, if he doesn't do something in the double game week, and even if he does, he's probably going to be out of my team. I think he's just too expensive and looks like he's going to be having a move away. Anyway, the defenders, you can't predict who's going to play, who's going to start. Like I was looking at Gusto, James obviously injured. I was looking at Liz Tossin. So they had Fofana as well, who actually played right in this game. Hato played in the back line as well. So I think from an FPL section,
Hato plays a lot, by the way. He's found himself in the back four across different positions quite a lot for them recently.
Yeah. But the point I'll make is that Chelsea defence, you don't know who's going to play and you can't trust any of them. So from an FPL perspective, it's kind of useless. Casado lost the ball for Doku's goal that was brilliantly taken. And attacking-wise, João Pedro is probably the only one you'd want to own for the rest of the season. But as you said previously, he is the most annoying person. He is the FPL troll of this season. I think it should take that award. Maybe we should do an award season. The end. We'll give him FPL troll of the year.
FPL troll for a while, to be fair to him. Like for the last 5 or 6 seasons, he's been a massive troll.
To be fair, yes, he has been. Okay, and then of course in other areas of attack, Neto. I like Neto as a player. He was great at Wolves, but he's way too inconsistent. So I think if Chelsea didn't have a double, I don't think anyone would be owning any Chelsea assets the rest of the season.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
yeah.
But Man City, though, on the other hand, the triple's the must, right? And you actually said this. A credit to you, Stephen. After the League Cup final, you said, I don't think it's going to have a negative impact on Arsenal. You were slightly wrong there. But you did think that it was going to be a horrendously important result for Man City in terms of the rest of their season. And then I remember you saying, who have they got next? Chelsea. And you went, oh my God, that could be a bloodbath. And so it was. Chelsea and it just seems to me you have to have the triple now.
Yeah, Man City were actually quite nice to Chelsea. That game could have been a lot more.
They were toying with them. They were toying with them.
Yeah. Right.
And which three would you go for? Which three would you go for?
Well, that does lead me on to my banker middling a road, because my banker is O'Reilly. I mean, great player. I think he's still only 5 million. It doesn't matter if he's technically in defence or playing in midfield. He gets forward. He took his goal really well. His record is definitely not a fluke now. He's very talented, and I think he'll start every week. Gardevold, they've got quite a few injuries at the back, haven't they, City? So Gardevold's out, Diaz is out. Only a rotation with him will be 8 Nori, so he probably won't start one game and 8 Nori will get it. I think it's gonna be 1 out of the 8 max, I'd say.
If O'Reilly's not fit for the double game week, would you sell him?
No, because he didn't. I mean, I don't know the extent of the injury, but it looked like it was more of a precaution, and because Man City could, right? Man City could just take him off,
Yeah,
so
true.
it was fine. My middling shout is somebody I think we have been sleeping on, me as well, until I brought him in, which is Jared fucking Bowen. 14 points against Wolves. Lovely little haul. West Ham's run is pretty good, and they just have the wind in their sails. They've got Palace next, and who they're going to destroy. Then they have Everton and Brentford, and much as I do like Everton and Brentford, they haven't been the best defensive, actually. Even Everton, surprisingly. They've been more leaky than you think they would under a Moyes team. They'll have Arsenal, who by then would have completely given up. Newcastle away, who have given up, and then Leeds at home. I mean,
who might be focusing on an FA Cup final? So
true, yeah, they've Chelsea, don't they? So yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, are they arguably favourites?
Well, I actually have a weird premonition that Leeds will rotate players so much against Spurs when they play at our place that we might actually get a win to get us out.
I mean, I admire the digging.
Final.
I imagine the digging. I do like that.
Digging for gold, I was, but yeah, no, that's Bowen's a great player. It's a great player.
Okay, and then my rogue shout is something I've already mentioned earlier. It's Dominic Solanke, England's number 9. De Zerbi plays very attacking football. They've got Brighton at home, who not the best defensively. Wolves away, not the best defensively. Villa, not the best. Again, Spurs can score and still lose games. They're very capable of that, but that's not what we're looking for here. He'll be very low owned. He's not cheap, obviously. He's also a Spurs player, so obviously this is rogue for a variety of reasons. But he's a lovely little differential. I think I probably will sell him for. Actually, probably will, as a massive pun. Sell Danny Boy for him. Once the double week is over. But yeah, Dominic Solanke, guys. Again, imagine if you have Solanke better in your team, you captain them, you're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel good, guys. You just are.
Wow. And imagine you bringing in Dominic Solanke just as Danny Welbeck makes his claim for his England spot. Even more secure with that. Okay, cool. Well, my banker
also I just realised I don't know why I said England's number 9. England's backup number 9. Sorry, I should say.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, there's a certain guy playing in Germany who might be the starter.
It just might be. Yeah. Well, my banker is the same as yours in the form of O'Reilly. If he's not fit, I don't hate the switch to Gahey, but I do think that even if you got 140 to 160 minutes out of O'Reilly in the next 2, that's still worthwhile. My middling is not a double game week player, and that is Mitchell of Crystal Palace.
Ooh.
Now he's 5.0.
If he's middling, your rogue must be way out there. Mitchell, okay.
Well, no, I know. So Mitchell's 5.0. He scored. He's got an assist this week. Obviously, they're more focused on the Conference League. Quite frankly, it's a competition they should win comfortably and handsomely. With a lot of those players looking to move on, and of course the manager looking to prove a point to the owners that he's pretty decent. And he's really low owned. I don't know the figures off the top of my head, but he's really low owned.
He's 10th for defenders. When did this happen? How
is
he on 120 points?
Stephen.
He's ahead of Keane. Wow. He's ahead of Richards at Palace. When did this happen?
Yeah.
I have been sleeping on this. I guess everyone else has been as well.
Yeah, so Mitchell's got the 11 points against Wolves, and he's got 1.2.6 and 6. So he chugs along pretty nicely. He doesn't really get DEFCONs, but again, if he scores, he's getting into the box. He's one of those players you like to own. But 5.0 is quite a lot, and as we've talked about, Palace will be pretty much fully checked out of the league pretty soon as they go to march towards that trophy.
In terms of have I been sleeping on Mitchell, I thought he was injured for a lot of the season. He's played 90 minutes every week, and I honestly had no idea. That's what Palace players do love about their fullbacks. To be fair, completely forgettable, and he has that is fair play because no one's owned. Everyone's talking about Richards and Lacroix, how you pronounce it, Gay at the time, obviously.
Yeah, Lacroix.
But yeah, Mitchell has really got under the radar. Fair enough.
Yeah, he is the Joel Veltman of Crystal Palace. No one knows he exists, but he somehow does. Anyway, moving on. So then my rogue shout, Stephen, is from Burnley.
Okay.
So hopefully I'm living up to your rogueness.
Burnley, who have completely given up, but please do go on.
And that is Jaden Anthony.
Okay.
5.0. He scored this week, but it was disallowed for offside. They literally have nothing to play for. They've given up. They're not really going to be doing anything for the rest of the season. But he may be looking for a move away. He'll want to stay in the Premier League. And as one of my Burnley friends told me, he is the laziest fucker on the pitch. But when he needs to score, he can. And so I think that he might crop up with something. I've got him in my team through the wild card. I think for this double game week on bench boost, he's definitely worth a punt, and then he can rot on my bench for the rest of the season. But he might pop up with something. He could have scored against Brighton. He was unlucky with the offside. It was quite close actually in the end. So yeah, that is my rogue shout. What do you think, Stephen?
It's rogue. I'll give you that. Again, he's actually top 20. I think. He's on the same.
He's had a couple of hauls.
He's on the same points as Atara at Brentford. He is 2 points ahead of Salah. So there you go. 3 points ahead of Jacko. But Jacko was out.
And you could buy 3 Jaden Anthonys for that.
Yeah. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he's not as terrible. But Barry, I criticise you for not being rogue. You've given a rogue shout. So thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you for that.
Great news. And then what's your shock result then? For the upcoming week.
Man City to win 10-0. I don't know. Was that a shock? Probably not.
We tried to get him out of depression, ladies and gentlemen, and when he's gone straight back into it. We do fear his mental health if they go and lose at Man City.
Yeah.
The shock result could be Arsenal to win.
Yeah, that's not happening. Chelsea to beat Man U, actually. I mean, no, actually, they're not that team anymore. Chelsea.
I like it.
All their players are on like 20-year contracts. So they don't need to leave. What's your one? Maybe you'll inspire me with that.
Okay, so my shock result is DCL to score 4 goals over the next 2 games in the double game week,
including today. Oh, sorry, across the double. Okay.
No, across the double. Okay. I think he's not had the best form recently. Everyone's been choosing between him and Welbeck. I think the majority of the crowd have gone for Welbeck, but I think he's going to surprise us all. Luckily, I've got both, so I'm happy either way. But yes, I think DCL is going to have a stormer of a double game week.
All right. In which case, I'm going to say Jared Bowen hat-trick. That's all I've got. I mean, the only one I'm sort of considering is Sunderland to win at Villa, maybe. Yeah, Sunderland to win at Villa. Let's say that. Sunderland to win at Villa.
Sunderland to win at Villa. Okay, cool. Proving that they don't have the flip-flops on and that Villa might fall out of the Champions League places. Okay, cool. Well, that's it for us this week. Thank you for watching and listening and for all your lovely comments coming through on the Instagram and YouTube. Please keep them coming. Thank you to Rita for helping us with the editing. And we will see you next week after the big double game week.
Thank you.